So can any of you guys imagine being restrained to a chair, held against your own will, and then poked with needles and have a bunch of chemicals and substances put throughout your body? Well, sad as it may be, this is the harsh reality of animal testing. A lot of us might think, oh, well, I don't test on animals, or how does this affect me? Well, one or more of the products that each of us use daily may have been tested on animals. Through research, I have become more aware and educated about this topic. Animal testing is unethical and should be banned everywhere. I'm going to tell you about 3 of the main reasons why I strongly believe this. The first reason is because it's deadly and it harms many of the animals that are tested on. Another reason is because even if it works or doesn't work on animals, our structures and our body structures and chemical and makeup are a lot different than those of animals. Another reason why I strongly believe this is because it also costs the United States billions of dollars a year. So according to a website called PETA.org, which stands for the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, which was last updated in January of 2011, over 100 million animals are killed per year for chemical, drug, food, and cosmetic testing. Many of them are constrained. They're forced to inhale toxic fumes. They suffer from broken limbs, broken skulls, holes drilled throughout their bodies. They also are caged and isolated for long periods of time. Digitalis, which was a remedy for heart failure, was first used in 1775 by Dr. William Withering. The use of this plant was tested on dogs, and it raised their blood pressures to fatal numbers. Another thing that was tested on dogs was the cage ball valve, which was used to replace damaged heart valves in humans. It was first tested on dogs and killed hundreds of them. The Guardian is a journal that was published on July 26, 1984, and there's an article by Robert Sharp, and he spoke about this test. It was called the Drays test. It was performed in 1944 by John H. Drays. He was a scientist at the U.S. Drug and Food Administration, and the purpose of this test was to observe different levels of eye irritancy in when exposed to certain chemicals. Traditionally, rabbits were used for eye irritancy tests. So the rabbit was strapped down, and over a period of time, different chemicals were put into its eyes, and it was observed what happened to the rabbit. However, rabbits and humans, especially in their eyes, are totally different. For one, the rabbit has a third eyelid. It has a different cornea and a different acidity level in the eye. And as a result, many of these rabbits went blind. They suffered from bleeding of the eyes and really bad irritation. So now that I've talked to you guys about some of the deadly effects that it has on animals, the Drays test was a good example of how humans and animals are different and how the tests are very inaccurate because of that. In an article retrieved from sourcewatch.org called Animal Testing, which was updated in 2011, researchers from Harvard and Boston universities surveyed, and 88% of doctors agreed that tests can be misleading due to the anatomical and physiological differences between animals and humans. The former Cancer National Institute director, Dr. Richard Klausner, quoted that mice have been cured of cancer for many years, but we somehow just can't seem to get it to work on humans. In another article on sourcewatch.org, 85 vaccines for AIDS and HIV have been successful in the primate species. 200 vaccines have been unsuccessful when applied to the humans. Some of these vaccines have actually had a reverse effect, and instead of keeping humans away from AIDS or HIV, it has actually made them more susceptible to it. Another difference is some animals are able to consume small amounts of chemicals that might be deadly to us. So for example, sheep can consume small levels of arsenic, whereas it can kill a human if we're to try and consume something like that. So we also know that secondhand smoke is very harmful to anybody, but especially women when they are pregnant. However, organizations such as the March of Dimes and the National Institute of Health continuously test the effects of secondhand smoke on pregnant animals. So now that I've told you guys a little bit about that, I'm also going to tell you guys about how expensive this has been running us. According to allcreatures.org, in an article titled "Escalating the Cost of Animal Experimentation," government agencies funded over 28,973 projects with over 23 different species of animals. And in these projects, 1,200 were totaled up to $495,600,000, and 778 projects up to $321,314,000. This has also put U.S. taxpayers to put up $10 billion per year for any test that is funded by the government. So in conclusion, I strongly believe that animal testing is unethical and should not be something that is practiced, especially in the United States. I told you guys about how humans and animals different, which causes an inaccuracy in tests. I've told you guys about how much money it costs the US per year, and that money could be going somewhere else. And I've also told you guys about the deadly effects that it has on these animals. So next time you go to the store, look at the product that you're going to buy. If it says not tested on animals, then you're okay. If it doesn't, then just think about the animal that was constrained to help make that product for you guys. And hopefully you guys take that into consideration when purchasing any other products or supporting any projects. Thank you.